guys, get your armor and swords ready, for here comes the Noble Knights. We will be looking at a new card to support the Noble Knights. This is Glory of the Noble Knights, or the Glorious Noble Knights. These are currently rough translations. This is a quick play spell card with the following effect. You can only activate a card with this name once per turn. Target one Noble Knight monster you control. Choose one equipment spell card from your deck that can be equipped to that monster, and equip it to that monster. In order to understand the greatness of this card, we must first look at the equipment spells within the archetype. The first card we are looking at is Noble Arms Hazarr Dutra. This has the effect you can only control one Noble Arms Hazarr Dutra, equip only to a warrior type monster. Once per turn, you can target one set card your opponent controls. The equipped monster loses exactly 500 attack, and if it does, destroy that target. This attack loss remains even if this card leaves the field, or the monster becomes unaffected by card effects. If this face-up card on the field is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can target one warrior type Noble Knight monster you control, equip this card to that target. You can only use this effect of Noble Arms Hazarr Dutra once per turn. Most of the monsters outside of the extra deck monsters have attacks ranging from about 1200 to 1900, so you can use this effect anywhere between 2 to 3 times before it becomes unusable. This is a decent effect as you can get rid of both the back row and face down monsters, and by being able to change to another Noble Knight means its use can be multiplied. The downside is that since this is a hard once per turn and the attack loss is permanent, you might not be in a position to protect your monsters to capitalize on its effect. The next card we will look at is Noble Arms Gallatin. This has the effect of you can only control one Noble Arms Gallatin, equip only to a warrior type monster. It gains 1000 attack, and during each of your standby phases it loses 200 attack. If this card face up on the field is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can target one warrior type Noble Knight monster you control, equip this card to that target. You can only use this effect of Noble Arms Gallatin once per turn. This is an effect which is similar to Stimpak, a very old card, but with a slightly increased attack advantage. This should only be used if you feel confident that you can go in for game, as if you can be stalled by your opponent, then your monster becomes weaker very quickly. The next equipment card is Noble Arms Caliburn. This has the following effect. You can only control one Noble Arms Caliburn, and it can only equip itself onto a warrior type monster. It gains 500 attack. Once per turn, you can gain 500 life points. If this face-up card on the field is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can target one warrior type Noble Knight monster you control, equip this card to that target. You can only use this effect of Noble Arms Caliburn once per turn. The attack gain is okay, not great overall. If you have enough equipped cards on the monster, then this is just a slight bonus. It has better use for its ability to make you gain life points, as to get your strategy out means you can end up on low life, therefore gaining 500 per turn can help to utilize cost-paying cards such as the Solomon cards, or at least protect you for that much longer. The next card is Noble Arms of Destiny. It has the following effect. You can only control one Noble Arms of Destiny, and it can only equip to a warrior type monster. Once per turn, the equipped monster cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. If this face-up card on the field is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can target one warrior type Noble Knight monster you control, equip this card to that target. You can only use this effect of Noble Arms of Destiny once per turn. This has a once per turn protection effect from either destruction. Obviously this can be useful if you have monsters that have been boosted by other equipment cards, and therefore you're not wasting the resources that you've spent already on that particular card. The next card is Noble Arms Skala. It has the following effect. Equip only to a Noble Knight monster. It cannot be targeted by an opponent's card effects. During your turn, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one Noble Knight Xyz monster you control. Special summon from your extra deck one Noble Knight Xyz monster with a different name by using that target as the Xyz material. This special summon is treated as an Xyz summon. Xyz materials attached to it also become Xyz materials on the summoned monster. You can only use this effect of Noble Arms Caliburn once per turn. This card paired with Destiny means that you can protect yourself from battle and card effects, meaning you can defend your monsters, and it has utility in the graveyard to use an Xyz monster that has no materials and rank it up to another so that you can use the other Xyz monster, so you gain overall advantage, as the other Xyz monster obviously would not have an effect and would just be a plain beater. The new Glory of the Noble Knights card has great use as a quick play spell, as it can be activated during your opponent's turn to either protect an existing monster from effect or battle destruction, or to raise your monster's attack to a level to cause your opponent to destroy their monster. It can also be used during your turn, and so provides versatility from that point greater than if this was to be a trap card. The problem with this card is the limitations provided by the equipment spells. If there were more support from those, then I could see the archetype coming out of obscurity, as you may see it from time to time, but it is not a staple deck that people are familiar with, especially newer players. I would like to personally test it out before giving a consequential no, so prepare to see some tests in the future. I think it's a shame that this hasn't had more attention drawn to this archetype, as I can see it as a very historic England type of deck, and since I live in England, I consider it very historically relevant. You know, you hear the myths about King Arthur and his round table. This very much reminds me of that. So, what do you guys think of this card? Are the equipment spells relevant enough to be used effectively, or do they need upgrades to bring them into the new Link format? Please leave your comments below, like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe, click the bell for notifications, and as always, thank you for taking the time to watch the video.
Some things will never change. Alone, let's see the street, mama, and